Welcome back to the Market Navigator channel. My name is Corey, and in this series, I'm teaching you how to build a robust stock portfolio tracker that allows you to track all of your stocks and other securities across all of your portfolios. In the last video, we talked about creating multiple portfolios and a dashboard to get a quick view of the performance of all your portfolios. In this video, we'll be creating a 52-week performance indicator, which represents the current price versus the 52-week high and 52-week low. Before we begin, click the subscribe button below so you can be notified of all future Market Navigator videos and stay up to date with the progress of this portfolio tracker and dashboard that we're building together. Let's get started. First, we're going to want to create a new column somewhere on your portfolio. In this case, we're going to just add it here towards the end. We're going to insert one column to the left of the link area, and let's go ahead and call this 52-week high or low. Great. Now there's a couple ways that we can approach this. In this video, we're going to talk about two of the different ways that we can approach this. The first way is creating what's called a Sparkline. A Sparkline will be a visual indicator of the 52-week performance. The other way to do this is simply a percentage of the high performance. Now, depending on your preferences, one of those might work better than the other for your use case. Let's go ahead and start with the Sparkline. Let's create a formula. And we're going to create a Sparkline formula. Because we're dealing with an array of data, we're going to actually add a new type of data set in here. And the way we do that is with the curly brackets. So let's add an opening curly bracket. And we're going to bring in a couple different pieces of information. So we're going to open up parentheses, and we're actually going to add a second parentheses here as well. We're going to do Google Finance. We want to grab our ticker symbol. And we also want to grab the low 52 attribute. And this is the low price within a year for Apple, for example. All right, let's close that out. And we're going to divide that by the current market value. And that's here in F2. So we're going to click F2. And then we're going to close out that parentheses. Then we're going to multiply that by 100, turn it into a decimal. And we're going to close out that parentheses as well. And then we're going to subtract it by 100 to flip it to a negative number. Great. So that's the first piece of data we need in there. We're going to add a comma. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to add two parentheses. Google Finance. We're going to grab the ticker symbol. And now we're going to grab the high number. So high for the 52-week period. Close that parentheses, divide that by the market value, close that parentheses, times it by 100 to make it a percentage, and then minus 100 to make it a negative number. And then we're going to close out that array of data with the squiggly bracket. So that's our first parameter for the Sparkline. And the second parameter relates to styling. And there is some customization here, but one thing you can't customize, or I wouldn't recommend customizing, is the chart type. So the attribute we need to type in here is chart type. And we're going to make this a bar chart. And the reason I say that it's not ideal to customize this is the bar chart is the best to represent the 52-week high and low. You can play around with this though. We want to disable right to left reading. So we'll do RTL, false. we're going to create some colors here. So let's do color 1. And then we'll do color 2. Color 2. Let's make that white. That's the background. All right, and we'll close out that second set of parameters, and we'll also close out that formula. And with any luck, we should see a chart. There you go. So this is a representation of the current price versus the 52-week low price and the 52-week high price. If the current market value, which is currently 135, if that was close to the 52-week high, or if it exceeded the 52-week high, this blue section of chart would be all the way maxed out 100% to the end here. If the current market value 135 happened to be close to the low price, then it would not even show the blue section here. And we can actually just test this out really quick. We can update the market value. We can override the market value just to test this out. I happen to know that the current market value for Apple is 135, but the 52-week low is 129 and 4 cents. So if I type in 129 and 4 cents into the market value, that should update the 52-week high and low chart to basically disappear because we are at or below the 52-week high/low, and there should be nothing there. Now, if we max out the 52-week high and say $180, which is approaching the 52-week high, we'll see that the bar chart has now maxed out here. So that gives you a quick indication of how that stock is doing for the year. If it's all the way low, not doing so great, and maybe it's a great time to buy if you feel confident about that stock. If it's maxed out all the way at the end, it's probably not a great time to buy. You're not getting any discounts. Great. Let's undo what we've just done there. And then get back to the spot that we were at before. So we have a Sparkline for row 2. We can actually just copy that down now. And there you go. You'll see that there's a chart for all of the holdings you have in there. And we can even grab one of these. We can copy it. And we can paste it into our retirement portfolio as well. So let's add in a new column here. And we can paste these guys here. Cool. 2-week high, low. Great. And you'll see that that actually resizes with the column as well. So that's one way to do it. For the other way, which represents a percentage of the market value versus 52-week high and low, let's go ahead and do that here. To begin, let's go ahead and delete the current Sparkline formula. And let's create a new formula. What we're going to want to grab is the current price. So let's go ahead and say Google Finance. And we know it's cell A2. And we want to get the price for that. Cool. And so that should show us the current price for the current market value. And in fact, instead of redoing that, we should probably just reference cell F2, which is already doing the current market value, 135.45. There you go. You can grab that. And we want to subtract out the current low for the 52-week period. So we got to grab that because we don't have that already. Let's do Google Finance. This is going to be cell A2, and we're going to grab the low 52. Great. So now we'll see our current market value subtracting out the low for the year. And what we're going to want to do to that is we're going to want to multiply that by 100 to turn that into a percentage. All right, so let's do multiply by 100. You'll also notice that I just wrapped the initial formula in parentheses as well to prioritize the multiplication after the subtraction. All right, now that we've done that, let's go ahead and wrap this whole thing as well so that it becomes one bundle of a formula. Cool, and we should still be seeing the same thing here. All right, great. All right, so the next thing we want to do here is we're going to create some brackets there just to get us started. We're going to do Google Finance, A6. We're going to grab the high for the 52-week period. I'm going to close that out. And we're going to subtract that by the low. So we're going to do A6 again, and we're going to do the low 52. Now finally, we want to divide this entire thing by 100 to get a good integer so that we can convert that into a percentage. And that'll make sense in just a second. So let's go ahead and wrap this whole thing. Cool. And then we'll divide that by 100. Looks like we're getting a bit of an error here. Let's go ahead and figure out what's going on. Google Finance, parameter 1 value is invalid. Let's figure out what is invalid. Well, for some reason we were putting in A6 here. We really need to reference A2. Let's update that, and that should give us our number. But we have it formatted as a money value. We need to update that to a percent value, and there we have it. So the current market value for Apple is 11.89% of the 52-week high, meaning it might be a good deal here. The market value is approaching the 52-week low. You might be getting some discounts. Now let's compare that to if the market value was $182.94, for example, which happens to be the current 52-week high. In that case, the market value is 100% of the 52-week high. You're probably not getting any discounts. And we can just go ahead and copy this formula down so that we can see that for all of the other securities we have listed here. And we'll go ahead and fix this market value here by copying that up. There you go. So depending on your preference, the percentage might be a better representation for you, or you might like the visual representation. Maybe the exact number doesn't matter as much. Whichever the case, I've shown you how to represent the current market value versus the 52-week high and low. I hope that's helpful. So that's it for this lesson. As always, I'll link a sample project file for you to reference in the description. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you want to follow along in this series, hit that subscribe button and don't forget to ring the bell. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.